I'm Ron Fedele, owner and operator of Fedele's Hand-Dipped Chocolates in Pembroke and Plymouth.
My name is Alicia Boyd, and I'm the manager of the store.
My name is Beanie, and I am the manager at the Plymouth shop.
When I was 12, a neighbor of mine owned a family-run Ma and Pa chocolate shop in Brockton, the north end of Brockton. And I got a job there after my older brother had worked for him. And I worked there through high school and college, and kind of gave me a desire. I really loved the business. I loved the training I got. I learned how to work there. We actually opened our doors in 1987. We basically had 2 showcases, and we borrowed a bunch of tables from our church so we could put our goods out. We had our basic pieces, and I realized I had never waited on a customer before in my life. I had always worked the back room. So things you don't think about when you're starting the business. I was taking care of the front end. My wife had worked a little bit of retail, but we opened and we had some customers. It was pretty amazing. Business has changed quite a bit over the years. As I said, when we started, we were very basic. We make a lot more product now than we used to make back then because I'm doing it full time now.
It's definitely a family-run, as you would say, mom and pop shop. We have a great work environment. We work together well. We make a great team.
Some people go home and coworkers are just acquaintances. Everybody on staff and everybody here is more like family. So even though, you know, our last name isn't Fedele's, they don't make you feel like that. They make you feel like you're part of the team.
I've had 3 kids. One of them is working with me and has worked with me since day one, and now he's working pretty much full time with me. I see him eventually taking over the store when I retire. I'm not going to retire until I'm 103, but he's going to hang in there with me. We've worked it out for the most part. My daughter, who recently passed away, unfortunately, she was like my sidekick. We get along extremely well, and when you own a business, you bring it home. It's just natural. Fedele's Chocolates started on the precept of milk chocolate is going to be something that my wife and I liked. We tried several different combinations of chocolate before we found what we would consider our chocolate. The chocolate is manufactured in Pennsylvania to our specifications, and we don't change it. Our chocolate is our chocolate. It's the same chocolate we opened our doors with. It hasn't changed. Our milk chocolate is 32%, our dark chocolate is 47%, and then we do a European chocolate that's 72%. It's more bitter and strong, but those percentages don't change. They're always the same. It's one of the things I like about this business. It's pretty traditional. That's the type of candy store we wanted. We're not doing dipping bacon and things that are kind of just gonna run for a year and then go away. We're doing soft center creams the same way they did them back at the turn of the last century. So it starts with a copper kettle and sugar. Interesting thing about soft centers is they're not soft when we dip them. They become soft after the fact. So I weigh out my sugar, put it on my stove, and then we only use spring water. So I've got sugar and water right now. That's all that's in here. The only other thing I'm going to put in this batch right now is a product that's actually invert sugar. It's a liquid sugar, and that is a stabilizer, which helps the cream both have better shelf life and maintain its smoothness. Now, because there's no heavy cream or butter or anything else in this batch, I don't have to stir it continually. I have to stir it often, but not continuously. And every time I see these sugar granules on the side, that's an enemy of the batch. You don't want sugar granules. And yes, I'm adding water to the batch, but at the same time, this is going to cook to about 247 degrees. Now I'm getting near my final wash down here. As she gets ready to boil, you can see it getting clearer and clearer. When it goes to boil, you'll be able to see the bottom of the kettle. The ball beater is a machine that mixes the cream. Once we pour the batch has to cool. Now before I can pour a hot batch in there, I'm gonna wet everything that the cream is gonna come in contact with. If I pour the batch right on there, it's gonna crystallize. It's cooled down, it's ready to go, it's ready to make a cream. So we're gonna add, it's called fondax, it's actually egg whites. Looks much like fluff would look at the store. And then we put in our ingredients, which in this case we're gonna make a coconut cream. And we're gonna start the ball beater, which is gonna generally mix it up now. And I'm just using a stainless steel scraper to clean my paddles off so I don't get any gunking up or non-mixed parts, and help out the ball beater a little bit. And as I said, I'm making coconut today. So I've got all that ready to go in. Now the coconut paste that I'm using is the same coconut, it comes out of Italy in a company called Fabergé. And it's the same gelatin that they use to make gelato, which is kind of interesting. And we're gonna get that in. I'm gonna help it out again. Okay, so you see the coconut floating around in there. And the final ingredient I'm putting in is an enzyme. It's called Convert It, and what it does is it breaks down the sugar crystals. I'm going to get my marble ready here. This is cornstarch. Ta-da! I let this air cool for 5 minutes, then I'm going to knead it like you would bread, okay? And after it cools down totally, it's going to go into the friend machine. Now I'm going to cut this up. Now I've got all these little pieces, and I'm going to knead them, the final mixing stage, and it helps it to cool a little bit faster. And we have it on the marble slab because the marble tends to pull the heat right out of the batch. So I can move on to the next stage a little bit quicker. The friend machine is nothing more than a press. Okay, so now I let the cream cool a little bit. I'm going to pack it, cover it up, put on my press, and I'm going to crank down the press until it hits. Okay, I can feel the pressure there. I'm going to bring my table up. It's going to push it through that plate, and it's going to make my center. Boom, boom. And there you go. This is just a thin coat of chocolate that's going to cover the bottom of the piece so there won't be any leaking. That's the most prone to any kind of leakage, would be the bottom. So that's going to cool. Over here, there's a chain that's going down into a vat of tempered chocolate. Pulling up the chocolate, scrapes off, goes through what I call a diffuser here that spreads the chocolate out, so you get a double curtain or waterfall of chocolate going into the machine. And that's enough to cover every piece, no matter what it is. They go down the wire belt. If we want to shake off some chocolate, we have a little shaker that shakes the belt, and it'll shake off any excess chocolate. Now, stringing is the mark that's on top of a chocolate. Every shop has their own code. Example, strawberry cream, we put a little S on the top of the cream. Everything needs a string. If it doesn't have one, you can't identify the piece. Then it transfers into the cooling tunnel. That's 65 degrees. That cools the piece so that when it comes out the end, it's ready to put into a stock box. She's pulling off all the pieces. She's checking all the bottoms just to make sure we don't have any leakers. A leaker would have a little pinhole in it, And as we talked about before, when these break down and get creamy, if there's a hole in it, that cream's gonna come out and make kind of a mess in the stock box.
It's percentages of cocoa that's actually good for you. Cocoa is the part in chocolate that's good for you. The more cocoa, the better. Hershey's and Reese's are only legally need to be 10% chocolate to be called chocolate. So that's why our chocolate is real chocolate and a little bit more expensive, but it's worth it because it's a melt in your mouth real experience rather than 10% and the rest sugar.
And what I'm doing with the peanut butter cups, I'm just gonna make a half a sheet here. I'm funneling in the base. After I do that, I'm gonna shake it out so the bottom will spread out a little bit. Now you can see it's kind of spread out over the bottom. Nothing is added to this, it's right out of the can, if you will. We found Teddy is great peanut butter. It tastes great, looks great, works great. Better than all the other brands that we've ever tried. And the ones I don't like that I put a little too much peanut butter in, I'm just gonna skip right over and leave them and we'll dump them afterwards. But that's all there is to it. It's a simple piece, but delicious. Okay, we're gonna make some fudge right now. We're using sugar and heavy cream. Combine them up. This is the lowest labor item that we sell. Very little labor involved in it. You end up with 8 to 10 pieces in a pound. Okay, I'm gonna wash down my batch just before we get to the boil point. And the reason you do this is the same reason with the creams. You don't want crystals forming, which will make the fudge taste grainy. And I'm at the point where I'm gonna add the butter. And I've cut it up just so it'll melt down a little bit easier. And this is the point where I wanna keep on stirring. Okay, you can see I'm there now, and that's the fudge all cooked. Like I say, that's a neutral bet. We're gonna add chocolate to this because what we're actually making right now is plain chocolate fudge. Fudge, we sell more fudge, I think, than anything else. And again, ingredients matter, crystallization matters, everything. When you cook it, you have to continually stir so you don't get any burn spots, and it's made with love. It really is. It sounds crazy, it sounds plastic, but I mean it. You've got to care about what you're doing to do it right.
I think besides that it tastes great, it's always fresh. You never get anything that's not fresh. And I think also the eye appeal. We don't just bag something and just throw it in there. We actually take our time. There's no fingerprints on anything. It's also the care that goes into everything. We don't just stick it on the shelf and hope it sells. And luckily everybody here on the staff has as high standards as Ron does.
The best ingredients, that's one of the key. If you ever go to culinary school, they're gonna tell you that. We cook them in our own kitchen, and we use copper kettles to disperse the heat nicely. Chocolate has to be the perfect temperature at the perfect set point, and when you dip it, it has to be cooled rapidly. Most candy shops in the area close down the month of July. Some close down July, August, September, because it's slow. People don't buy chocolate as much. So we thought Plymouth, we could do ice cream. We bought an existing business in Plymouth that was called Let's Do Chocolate. So we figured, well, we'll make it Fedele's Let's Do Chocolate, which we've done. We've since dropped the Let's Do, and now it's Fedele's Chocolates down there. But good summer income for it. It spreads out our business a little bit.
This shop is much different than our Pembroke shop. We have a different vibe, we have a different retail, we have a different customer. Right now, there are no other chocolate shops located down in Plymouth. There is a candy store, but they sell just your bulk candies. They don't sell like the homemade chocolates like we make. For ice cream, we actually have Peaceful Meadows, and they serve hard serve. We actually work hand in hand with them. If somebody comes to us and wants hard serve, we can just suggest that they go up the walkway, and they actually do the same favor for us.
Our marketing has changed considerably over the years. Newspapers were huge back in 1980s and early 90s. We've done a lot of couponing. over the years, and that seems to be a fading industry. Right now, Facebook is my main marketing tool, and it's also the cheapest marketing tool we've ever had. And we make sure that Fedele's, the way it's written, shows up on everything, from my truck to every package that we sell. And that's our branding. That's become our branding. Packing and packaging is constantly going on. When a customer comes in, the person that's packaging whatever it is we're packaging at the time will stop doing that, come out and wait on the customer and go back and forth. 50 to 65-year-old women would be our main customer. We try to target everybody. We make things for everybody.
I would say we definitely have an older crowd that is our regulars. I would definitely say too, though, that tourists, we get a lot of them in the summertime. But I would say our day-to-day customers are definitely the senior citizen crowd. We don't have many teenagers that come here and shop.
It's just so unique. We have such a mix of customers, hundreds and hundreds, but they're all great people, and they all care about the community. They care about our shop. Chocolate's a little different. When customers come in here, they're happy. When you go to a grocery store, you're always in a hurry. When they come here, I don't know if it's the aroma of the chocolate or what it is, but it has a calming effect on people. So people enjoy both giving chocolate, receiving chocolate, and eating chocolate. So I don't know, I guess I see the best side of the community, good people, and they care about each other.
The summertime is definitely our peak season. We do well through the holidays. We benefit because we have Christmas, Valentine's Day, and Easter. I would say we're at our peak season through the spring and summer, and then we start to slow down around fall, but we definitely do well with the holidays.
Busiest holiday is Christmas. The reason for that is everybody's got more than one person they're buying for. Like Valentine's Day is big, but you usually only have one Valentine and maybe a couple of kids as well. Valentine's Day, I call it a guy's holiday, and a guy needs it today, he buys it today. Christmas, you tend to get all the women coming in around December 5th through the 15th, all the guys come in around the 20th. So it's a long range of busy days. So then Easter would be our second busiest time, with Valentine's being third. And we've also added King Richard's Fair since then, and we're the King's Chocolatier. For what we do, there is no competition. And I don't mean to sound brash or anything. We're doing things that you can buy Swedish fish right next door at Mucky's down at the other end of the plaza. You can buy it at 7-Eleven. But you can't buy it as fresh or packaged as nicely as we do it. Our chocolates, there's 2 places on the entire planet that you can buy Fedele's chocolates, and that's Pembroke and Plymouth. People like chocolate any time of year.
I feel like the customers have come in. There's more and more customers. We're getting more and more compliments. Everybody says the words just a candy store, but the future is really big for Fedele's, I think.